So based off of that small clip, what are a few things that you noticed or that you see in the video? I see that it is obviously a football game. I know this because I have seen football games before. I also see that it is the Super Bowl because down at the bottom of the screen it stated that it was the Super Bowl. And I know that the Super Bowl is the biggest game of the year for football players. And another thing I see is that time is running out. And I know that when time runs out, the game is over. So, based off of these little things that I see and I just know, I can infer or conclude that we are about to see a clip of who is winning a football game or the Super Bowl. So let's finish up the clip and see what happens.
Incomplete! And the game is over! The game is over! The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions!
So by using information that you saw with your eyes in the video and information that you knew about what you saw in the video, you simply drew a conclusion about what was going to happen in the video. And that is today's topic. Today's topic is about drawing conclusions. Drawing conclusions is when we use information that we see and information that we know to come up with an answer that is not clearly stated. So in the video example, it did not clearly come out and say, this is the Super Bowl touchdown winning point. It didn't clearly state that, but we used information that we knew about football, information that we knew about the Super Bowl, and information that we saw with our eyes in the video to draw the conclusion that we were watching the scoring point for the Super Bowl. So now we're going to do a few more examples of how we draw conclusions. So you may not know this, but we draw conclusions all the time to get inside an author's or an illustrator's mind. And the way that we do this is in two different ways. We do this by, one, looking at what is given to us within words, and two, look at what is given to us in pictures. And I'm going to show you an example of each, and I'm going to work with you guys on drawing conclusions for both those examples. So here we go. So an easy way to remember how you will draw conclusions is by this simple little formula. What I see plus what I know equals drawing conclusions. So drawing conclusions is basically about what you see about something and what you know about something. So the first example that we're going to look at is in a picture form. So let's get started. So here is my first example of a picture that we are going to draw conclusions about. So first, let's look at what we see about the picture. What's one thing that you see in this picture? You see scary costumes? So do I. What's another thing that you see? You see that they're all holding bags? I can see that too. They're each holding a bag for themselves. And what's one more thing that you notice in this picture? Candy's being dumped in the bag? I can see that too. There's little pieces of candy right there going in the bag. So, based on the things that I can see, I'm going to now look at what I know based off of what I see. I know that if you dress up to get bags of candy, that you're probably out dressed up for Halloween. And I know this because I've experienced before. I've went out to get candy for Halloween myself. So together, we just drew the conclusion from this picture only that they are probably trick-or-treating. And we did this by looking at what we see and looking at what we know about a picture that does not clearly state that they are trick-or-treating. We just drew a great conclusion. Good job, guys. Now, let's look at a way that we can draw a conclusion through words or text only. Charlie Brown limped all the way down the street while trick-or-treating. So, now we're going to look at what we see in these words. What do you see in these words? I see that Charlie Brown was limping. Now, what do I know about the word limping? I know that limping means to walk in sort of a hoppy way. And because I know what the word limped means, I can draw the conclusion that Charlie Brown probably hurt his foot at some point before or during trick-or-treating. It didn't clearly state that Charlie Brown hurt his foot, but by seeing the word limped and knowing what the word limped means, I probably know that Charlie Brown hurt his foot. And we just drew a conclusion based off of words and clues from the words without anything being clearly stated. Good job! So now we know what it means to draw a conclusion and what it takes to draw conclusions. We know that drawing conclusions means to come up with an answer that's not clearly stated in pictures or texts, and we now know that drawing conclusions means that we look at things that we see in a picture or text and things that we know about the picture or text. And so on our next Zoom meeting, we will be going over some examples as a whole group about how we're going to draw conclusions. So now I want to challenge you. Before the next Zoom meeting of our lesson about drawing conclusions, I want to challenge you to something fun. So I want you to do this. I want you to watch a movie with a parent or a sibling, someone in your household during this quarantine that you've never watched before. And then I want you to make this pamphlet. When you open up the pamphlet, you'll see that there is a predict box, a define box, and a drawing conclusion box. So in the predict box, this will be before the movie really even starts. I want you to predict what you think happens in the movie, just for fun, what you think is going to happen. In the second box, I want you to define what drawing a conclusion means. What does it take? What are the two things you need to do in order to draw a conclusion? I'm not going to tell you, but I listed them earlier. It was the little formula. And then I want you to actually draw a conclusion. Based off of the two things that it takes to draw a conclusion, I want you to actually draw a conclusion from the movie that you watch. So make a pamphlet, pick a school-appropriate movie, and make the pamphlet based off of that movie. I hope to see that some of you did it, but if you didn't, it's okay. I just thought it would be fun. So until next time, bye!